What if history is a lie? Hidden in plain sight are objects that defy explanation, proof of a past far more advanced, far stranger than we dare imagine. Today we uncover 8 forbidden finds that shatter everything you thought you knew. Prepare to question reality. The dust of the Smithsonian, and the truth buried beneath it. Deep within the sub-basements of the Smithsonian Institution, behind reinforced steel doors and off-limits to even the most senior researchers, lies a collection of objects that, according to our official history, simply should not exist. These are not mere curiosities, they are anomalies, known as out-of-place artifacts, or OOPArts. These are items unearthed from geological strata where they have no business being, crafted with technologies that hadn't been invented yet, by civilizations that, if our textbooks are to be believed, were still sharpening sticks in caves. But what if our textbooks are fundamentally flawed? What if history is not a straight linear progression, but a carefully curated narrative, meticulously crafted by those who control the institutions of learning? When a discovery is made that threatens the very foundation of that narrative, when an object is pulled from the earth that proves our ancestors were masters of mathematics, flight, or even electricity, the mechanism of the Great Erasure kicks in. The object is swiftly labeled a hoax, it is misplaced during transit, or it is locked away in a crate, condemned to gather dust for 1,000 years, hidden from public scrutiny and academic inquiry. Yet, the Earth is a notoriously poor keeper of secrets. Every so often, a storm, a construction project, or a curious diver pulls back the curtain, revealing glimpses of a past far more complex and advanced than we dare to imagine. Tonight, we dare to step into the forbidden wing of human history. We will examine 8 such objects, 8 anomalies that prove we are a species suffering from profound amnesia, and that the primitive world we think we know was anything but. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about our origins, because the truth, as always, is far stranger than fiction. 1. The Antikythera Mechanism, the ancient computer that rewrote time. In the spring of 1900, a group of Greek sponge divers, caught in a violent storm, were forced to take shelter near the tiny, desolate island of Antikythera. When the tempest finally cleared, they dove into the deep turquoise waters, not expecting to find anything more than sponges. Instead, they stumbled upon a shipwreck, a sunken treasure trove that would change science forever. Among the marble statues and amphorae, they discovered a calcified, green-encrusted lump of bronze, an object so unassuming, yet so revolutionary, it would challenge our entire understanding of ancient technology. For decades, this mysterious lump sat in a museum, largely ignored, its true nature hidden beneath layers of corrosion and academic oversight. It was simply catalogued as a piece of corroded bronze, another relic from a sunken ship. The scientific community, bound by its own paradigms, simply could not conceive of what lay beneath the incrustation. It wasn't until the 1950s, when historian of science Derek de Solla Price began a meticulous investigation, that the true marvel started to emerge. Using X-ray technology, a painstaking process of cleaning, and detailed photographic analysis, the lump began to reveal its astonishing secrets. It wasn't a mere tool or a weapon. It was an intricate, geared analog computer, a device of such complexity that its existence in the ancient world was deemed impossible. The Antikythera Mechanism contains over 30 complex, hand-cut bronze gears, some as small as a fingernail, all working in perfect synchronicity. This wasn't a simple sundial or an astrolabe. It was designed to track the movements of the sun, the moon, and the 5 known planets with terrifying precision. It could predict lunar and solar eclipses decades in advance, and it even accounted for the irregular orbit of the moon, a concept not fully understood until centuries later. The sheer mathematical and engineering genius required to conceive and construct such a device is staggering. The gears were differential gears, a technology not seen again until the 16th century. The precision of the gear cutting suggests a level of craftsmanship that rivals modern watchmaking. Here lies the profound problem. The level of mechanical engineering found in this device, dating back to 80 BC, wasn't seen again in human history until the 14th century. That is a 1,400-year technological gap. Who built it? How did they master the advanced mathematics of planetary motion and the sophisticated metallurgy required to cut such precise gears? The prevailing theory suggests it was built by Greek scientists, possibly from Rhodes, with Archimedes or Hipparchus often cited as potential intellectual fathers. But even with these brilliant minds, the leap in technology is immense. If this technology existed 2,000 years ago, what happened to the civilization that created it? Why did this knowledge vanish? And why is the Antikythera Mechanism still treated as an anomaly instead of irrefutable proof that the Greeks were on the verge of an industrial revolution that was somehow aborted and then deliberately forgotten? The implications are immense. A lost golden age of Greek engineering, a secret history of technological prowess that was either destroyed, suppressed, or simply lost to the sands of time. The Antikythera Mechanism forces us to reconsider the entire timeline of technological development and ponder what other marvels might lie hidden beneath the waves, waiting to rewrite our past. 2. The Piri Reis Map, Antarctica's ghostly coastline. In 1929, a librarian at the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul was meticulously cataloging old documents when he made a discovery that would send shivers down the spines of cartographers and historians alike. He found a fragment of a gazelle skin map, signed by a Turkish admiral named Piri Reis and dated 1513. At first glance, it appeared to be a standard nautical chart of the Atlantic Ocean, remarkable for its age but not revolutionary. However, when researchers examined the bottom edge of the map, their blood ran cold. The map clearly depicted the coastline of Antarctica. There are two monumental issues here that shatter our conventional understanding of history. First, Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820, nearly 300 years after this map was drawn. How could Piri Reis or his sources have known about a continent that was supposedly unknown to the rest of the world? This isn't a minor detail. It's a fundamental challenge to the timeline of global exploration. The official narrative states that Antarctica was first sighted by Russian expeditioners led by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev in 1820, and its coastline wasn't properly mapped until the 19th and 20th centuries, with advanced ice-penetrating radar and satellite imagery. Yet, here we have a map from 1513, not only showing the continent, but doing so with astonishing accuracy. Second, and most disturbingly, the map shows the coastline of Queen Maud Land without any ice. Today, this region is buried under miles of glacial ice, some of it several kilometers thick. The implications of this are staggering. If the map depicts Antarctica without ice, it means the original source maps must have been created at a time when the continent was ice-free. The last time Antarctica was ice-free was approximately 6,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. This pushes the timeline of advanced cartography back by millennia into a period we conventionally consider prehistoric, a time when humanity was supposedly still struggling with basic survival. Modern seismic surveys, conducted by expeditions like the Swedish-British Antarctic Expedition of 1949, have since confirmed that the coastline shown on the Piri Reis map matches the subglacial topography of the continent, the actual landmass beneath the ice. This isn't a coincidence. It's a precise depiction of a landscape that has been hidden for thousands of years. Piri Reis himself openly admitted he compiled his map from ancient source maps, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great. This suggests that he was not the original cartographer, but rather a compiler of knowledge from a much older, more advanced civilization. A civilization that was mapping the entire globe with incredible accuracy during a period we consider prehistoric. A civilization that understood longitude and spherical trigonometry long before the first pyramid was even a thought in the desert. How did they achieve such precision without modern instruments? Were they using methods of navigation and surveying that have been lost to us? The very existence of the Piri Reis map forces us to confront the possibility of a lost global civilization, one that possessed a profound understanding of geography and cartography, a knowledge that was somehow preserved and passed down through millennia, only to be rediscovered and then largely dismissed. Was this a lost civilization of master cartographers? Or is the Piri Reis map a chilling testament to a global cataclysm that wiped out an advanced culture, leaving only fragments of their knowledge behind, a ghost of a past that refuses to stay buried? the implications are profound. A hidden history of global exploration and mapping, a testament to a forgotten age of enlightenment that challenges every assumption we hold about the dawn of civilization. 3. The Baghdad Battery, Ancient Light in the Darkness. In 1936, in a small village near Baghdad, Iraq, archaeologists unearthed a collection of strange terracotta jars, objects that would soon spark a debate that continues to electrify the scientific community. These weren't just ordinary clay pots. Each jar, roughly 5 inches tall, contained a copper cylinder, which in turn held an iron rod. The jars were meticulously sealed with asphalt, suggesting a deliberate and functional design, not merely a storage vessel. The discovery was made during excavations of a Parthian-era village, dating these artifacts to approximately 250 BC to 250 AD. When Wilhelm König, a German archaeologist and director of the National Museum of Iraq, closely examined the design, a startling realization dawned on him. It was a galvanic cell. He recognized the distinct components, copper, iron, and an acidic electrolyte, which would have been added, as the fundamental elements required to generate an electrical current. If you filled the jar with an acidic liquid, such as lemon juice, grape juice, or vinegar, it would produce a steady electrical current. This was, in essence, a battery created over 2,000 years ago, predating Alessandro Volta's invention of the electrochemical cell by nearly 2 millennia. Mainstream science, ever cautious and often resistant to paradigm-shifting discoveries, initially dismissed these as mere storage jars for scrolls or other perishable goods. The idea of ancient electricity was simply too radical to accept. However, numerous experiments with exact replicas have unequivocally proven that they function perfectly as batteries, capable of generating over a volt of electricity. In 1938, Willard F.M. Gray of the General Electric High Voltage Laboratory successfully replicated the battery, producing a measurable voltage. Later, in the 1970s, Arne Eggebrecht, a German Egyptologist, used a replica to electroplate a small silver statue with gold, demonstrating a practical application for such a device. But why would a civilization 2,000 years ago need electricity? The most compelling answer points to electroplating. We have discovered ancient jewelry and artifacts that appear to be gold-plated or silver-plated on a molecular level, a sophisticated process that is impossible without a steady electric current. The thinness and uniformity of these metallic coatings are difficult to achieve with traditional gilding methods. If the people of ancient Mesopotamia were using batteries to plate gold, what else were they doing? Were these batteries used for religious rituals, perhaps to create an aura of divine power around certain objects? Could they have been used for medical purposes, a form of ancient electrotherapy? And what about the eternal lamps described in ancient temples, glowing without fuel, mentioned in texts from various ancient cultures? Were these powered by this same forgotten technology? A secret passed down through generations of priests and artisans? The profound implications of the Baghdad Battery are often downplayed. It suggests a level of scientific understanding and technological application that completely contradicts our conventional view of ancient history. Why was this profound knowledge allowed to vanish from the human record, only to be discovered again by Alessandro Volta 18 centuries later, forcing us to relearn what was once common knowledge? The Baghdad Battery is not just an artifact. It is a silent testament to a lost chapter of human ingenuity, a spark of ancient electricity that illuminates the possibility of a far more advanced past than we are willing to acknowledge. It forces us to ask, what other technological marvels lie buried, waiting to be rediscovered, challenging our linear perception of progress? 4. The Dashka Stone, the map of the Creator, millions of years old. In 1999, in the remote and rugged Ural Mountains of Russia, a professor named Alexander Chuvirov made a discovery that would shatter geological and historical timelines. He found a massive stone slab, weighing over a ton, intricately carved. This wasn't just any rock, it was a carefully crafted artifact. When he meticulously cleaned it, removing layers of earth and debris, he realized he was looking at something truly extraordinary, a three-dimensional relief map. This artifact, now known as the Dashka Stone, or the Map of the Creator, measures approximately 1.5 meters, 5 feet long, 1 meter, 3.3 feet, wide, and 16 centimeters, 6 inches, thick. This was no crude sketch or simple carving. It was a highly accurate topographical map of the Ural region, depicting rivers, valleys, and massive irrigation systems with astonishing precision. The detail was so fine that it included not only natural features but also artificial structures. But here is where the impossible begins. The stone has been geologically dated to be millions of years old, a time frame that predates any known human civilization by an incomprehensible margin. Scientific analysis of the stone's composition, which includes 3 distinct layers, a cement-like base, a diopside layer, and a protective calcium porcelain layer, suggests a highly advanced manufacturing process, not a natural formation. Even more shocking, Chubarov realized that the map could only have been created through aerial surveying. The perspective and the level of detail match exactly what we see today from high-altitude satellites. Imagine a civilization with the capability to survey vast landscapes from above, then translate that data into a durable, 3-dimensional map. The map even shows giant dams and canals that appear to be part of a global geoengineering project, suggesting a level of technological advancement that defies our understanding of ancient history. These structures, if they existed, would have required immense resources and sophisticated engineering skills. The Dashka stone, often dubbed the Map of the Creator, suggests that millions of years ago, someone was flying over the Urals, meticulously mapping the terrain and actively terraforming the planet. The scale and ambition of such a project are mind-boggling. Is it a hoax, an elaborate deception? Skeptics have pointed to the lack of independent verification and the unusual circumstances of its discovery. However, the sheer complexity and geological dating of the stone make a simple hoax difficult to explain. If it is genuine, it forces us to confront the possibility of a past far grander and more mysterious than we ever dared to imagine. A civilization so ancient, so utterly lost to time, that the very continents have shifted since it was carved. Who were these cartographers of the sky? What was their purpose? And what happened to them? The Dashka stone challenges the very foundation of our understanding of Earth's history and the origins of intelligent life, hinting at a forgotten epoch when advanced beings walked or perhaps flew across our planet. 5. The Ica stones, the forbidden timeline of man and dinosaur. In the 1960s, a doctor in Peru named Javier Cabrera received a peculiar gift from a local farmer, a small engraved stone. The image etched onto its surface depicted a fish that had been extinct for millions of years. Intrigued and sensing a deeper mystery, Cabrera began to collect more of these stones. He eventually amassed a staggering collection of over 11,000 Ica stones, each one a potential key to unlocking a forbidden chapter of human history. These stones, found in the Ica region of Peru, are typically dark andesite, varying in size from small pebbles to large boulders, all adorned with intricate carvings. The engravings on these stones are a historian's nightmare, a paleontologist's paradox. They depict complex medical procedures, including what appear to be heart transplants, brain surgery, and even cesarean sections, suggesting an advanced understanding of anatomy and medicine in ancient Peru that far surpasses what is officially attributed to them. But most famously, and most controversially, they show humans interacting with dinosaurs. There are vivid images of men riding triceratops, hunters attacking a Tyrannosaurus rex with spears, and detailed depictions of various prehistoric creatures like Stegosaurus, Brontosaurus, and pterodactyls, often coexisting with humans in various activities. Mainstream science has vehemently labeled the Ica stones a total fraud, claiming local farmers carved them to sell to unsuspecting tourists. Indeed, some farmers did admit to carving fakes to meet demand, which further fueled the skepticism. However, many of the stones were reportedly found in graves dating back to the 8th century, long before the modern understanding of dinosaurs and their appearance. Furthermore, many of the dinosaurs depicted, such as the Diplodocus, show anatomical details, like dermal spikes along its back, that paleontologists only discovered in the 1990s through new fossil evidence. How did an ancient Peruvian civilization know what dinosaurs looked like in such precise detail including features only recently confirmed by modern science unless they saw them? Or did they have access to a fossil record far more complete than our own, a record that has since been lost or suppressed? The Ica stones boldly suggest that the timeline of millions of years separating humans and dinosaurs might be a carefully constructed fabrication, hiding a truth that challenges the very foundations of evolutionary theory. If these stones are authentic, they force us to reconsider the entire chronology of life on Earth and the possibility of a coexistence between humans and dinosaurs. Were these ancient Peruvians survivors of a previous advanced civilization that witnessed these creatures? Or do these stones represent a form of knowledge passed down through an unbroken chain, from a time when such interactions were commonplace? The Ica stones remain one of the most perplexing and provocative out-of-place artifacts, a silent challenge to our neatly organized scientific narratives, daring us to imagine a past where the impossible was simply everyday reality. 6. The giant skeletons, the Smithsonian cover-up, and the Nephilim. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, newspapers across the United States were filled with a very specific, yet now largely forgotten, type of report. Farmers, road crews, and amateur archaeologists, while digging into ancient Indian mounds across the continent, were consistently unearthing skeletons of truly gigantic proportions. These weren't just unusually tall men. These were skeletons measuring between 7 and 12 feet tall, far exceeding the average human height. Many reports even detailed unusual anatomical features, such as double rows of teeth and 6 fingers on each hand, hinting at a lineage distinct from modern humans. These accounts were not isolated incidents. They were widespread, appearing in reputable newspapers from coast to coast, often accompanied by sworn affidavits and detailed descriptions from multiple witnesses. In almost every single report, a representative from the prestigious Smithsonian Institution would arrive on the scene, collect the bones for further study, and then, mysteriously, those bones would vanish, never to be seen again by the public or independent researchers. This pattern of acquisition and subsequent disappearance has led to persistent accusations of a deliberate cover-up. Whistleblowers from within the institution have claimed for years that these colossal skeletons were deliberately destroyed or hidden because they did not fit the prevailing Clovis first theory of how America was populated, a theory that posits humans arrived in North America relatively recently, around 13,000 years ago, and were not capable of building large-scale earthworks or possessing advanced anatomical variations. The existence of these giants, if acknowledged, would completely upend this established narrative. These giants, often linked to the Nephilim of ancient texts, the mound builders of forgotten legends and various indigenous oral traditions, suggest that a different race of humans once ruled the continent, a race that was systematically erased from our history to maintain the status quo of primitive indigenous development. The Bible, in Genesis 6:4, speaks of the Nephilim. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Could these biblical accounts and similar legends from cultures worldwide be echoes of a forgotten reality? The sheer volume of historical accounts and newspaper reports makes it difficult to dismiss these findings as mere folklore or misidentification. The consistency of the descriptions, immense height, unusual dental patterns, extra digits, points to a distinct population. Where are these bones now? What secrets do they hold about human origins, evolution, and the true history of the Americas? And why is the mere mention of giant mounds or colossal human remains still a career ender for any modern archaeologist daring to question the official narrative? The suppression of this evidence, if true, represents a profound betrayal of scientific integrity and a deliberate attempt to control our understanding of the past. The giant skeletons remain a haunting enigma, a testament to a hidden history that refuses to stay buried, whispering tales of a forgotten race that once walked among us, challenging the very foundations of anthropology and archaeology. 7. The Saqqara bird, ancient aerodynamics and lost flight. In 1898, in a tomb in Saqqara, Egypt, archaeologists made a curious discovery: a small wooden object, intricately carved and shaped like a bird. Dated to approximately 200 BC, it was initially dismissed as nothing more than a child's toy, and unceremoniously placed in a box in the dusty archives of the Cairo Museum, its true significance overlooked for decades. The artifact, measuring about 18 centimeters, 7 inches in length with a wingspan of 18 centimeters, was made of sycamore wood and weighed just under 40 grams. Its design, with its streamlined body and distinct wings, was unlike any other bird effigy found in ancient Egypt. However, in 1969, a keen-eyed researcher named Khalil Messiha, an Egyptian physician and aviation enthusiast, noticed something profoundly strange about the artifact. This was no ordinary bird. It had no feathers, no legs, and most importantly, it possessed a vertical tail fin, strikingly similar to the rudder of a modern airplane. Messiha, recognizing the aerodynamic potential, hypothesized that the object was not a toy, but a model of an ancient aircraft. He built a scale model of the Saqqara bird, meticulously replicating its proportions and design. To his astonishment, he found that it was perfectly aerodynamic, possessing the precise lift characteristics of a high-performance glider. The bird is shaped exactly like a modern push glider that can stay aloft with minimal wind, a design principle far ahead of its time. Its wings are angled slightly downwards, a feature known as dihedral, which provides stability in flight, a principle crucial to modern aircraft design. Did the ancient Egyptians, a civilization we credit with pyramids, hieroglyphs, and monumental architecture, also understand the complex principles of flight? This isn't an isolated incident. We have found gold shuttles, or bird-like artifacts, in Colombia attributed to the Quimbaya civilization that exhibit the exact same aerodynamic profile. These pre-Columbian artifacts, often dismissed as stylized animals, bear an uncanny resemblance to modern delta-wing aircraft. Is it possible that the sun chariots and flying boats described in ancient texts, not just in Egypt but across various cultures, were not mere metaphors or mythological fantasies, but accurate descriptions of actual aircraft lost to the sands of time? The Saqqara bird forces us to reconsider the technological capabilities of ancient civilizations and ponder whether the skies above ancient Egypt were once traversed by more than just birds. Could this small wooden glider be a surviving remnant of a forgotten age of aviation, a testament to a knowledge of aerodynamics that was either suppressed, lost, or simply deemed too dangerous to be widely known? The implications are immense, a hidden history of ancient flight, challenging our linear perception of technological progress, and opening up the possibility that humanity's dream of soaring through the skies was realized far earlier than we ever imagined. 8. Göbekli Tepe, the impossible temple that rewrote civilization. In 1994, on a windswept hilltop in southeast Turkey, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt began to dig. What he unearthed over the next 2 decades would not only shatter our understanding of human civilization, but fundamentally rewrite the timeline of our species. It is called Göbekli Tepe, and it is, without exaggeration, the most important archaeological discovery of the 21st century. This isn't just an ancient ruin, it's a massive complex of monumental T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing over 20 tons, meticulously carved with intricate reliefs of animals and abstract symbols. The site consists of multiple circular and oval structures, each featuring these massive megaliths arranged in concentric circles. The sheer scale and sophistication of the construction are breathtaking. The most astonishing fact about Göbekli Tepe is its age. It has been meticulously dated to approximately 9,600 to 8,200 BCE, making it at least 6,000 years older than Stonehenge and 7,000 years older than the Egyptian pyramids. This places its construction firmly in the pre-pottery Neolithic period, a time when humanity was supposedly still living in small, nomadic hunter-gatherer bands, without agriculture, settled communities, or the social organization necessary for monumental construction. The prevailing archaeological narrative dictates that complex societies, with their hierarchies and specialized labor, only emerged after the development of agriculture. Göbekli Tepe completely flips this narrative on its head. Who built Göbekli Tepe, and why? The intricate carvings on the pillars depict a menagerie of animals: foxes, snakes, boars, birds, and insects, often in dynamic, almost narrative scenes. Some researchers believe these carvings represent constellations or astronomical observations, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos. The purpose of the site remains a mystery, but the consensus is that it was a ritual or ceremonial center, a place of immense spiritual significance. What is clear is that its construction would have required a large, organized workforce, a level of planning, engineering, and artistic skill that was previously thought impossible for people of that era. This implies a complex social structure, a shared belief system, and a surplus of resources that could only come from a settled, perhaps even agricultural society. Yet, there is no evidence of permanent settlements or large-scale agriculture at the site. Even more perplexing is the fact that Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried around 8000 BCE. The entire complex was systematically covered with earth, preserving it for millennia. Why would such an extraordinary achievement be intentionally interred? Was it to protect it from a coming cataclysm? Was it a ritualistic act to honor the gods or spirits it was built for? Or was it to hide a knowledge that was deemed too powerful or dangerous for future generations? Göbekli Tepe forces us to reconsider the very origins of civilization. It suggests that the impulse for monumental architecture and complex religious practices may have preceded agriculture, rather than being a consequence of it. It implies that hunter-gatherers were far more sophisticated and capable than we ever imagined, possessing a rich spiritual life and the organizational capacity to undertake projects on an epic scale. This site is not just an archaeological wonder, it is a profound challenge to our understanding of human progress, a silent testament to a forgotten chapter of our species' intellectual and spiritual awakening, urging us to question the linear progression of history and embrace a past far more intricate and awe-inspiring. The final analysis: the amnesia of a species and the echoes of a lost past. When we look at these 8 extraordinary artifacts, the Antikythera Mechanism, the Piri Reis Map, the Baghdad Battery, the Dashka Stone, the Ica Stones, the giant skeletons, the Saqqara bird, and Göbekli Tepe, the pattern becomes undeniable, chillingly clear. We are being lied to, not necessarily out of malice, but perhaps out of a desperate need for order, a fear of disrupting the comfortable narrative we have constructed. The human mind, and indeed human institutions, often prefer a simple, linear story, even if it means ignoring inconvenient truths. These objects are not just isolated curiosities. They are pieces of a much larger, coherent puzzle that, when assembled, paints a picture of a past radically different from the one we are taught. If we admit that the Antikythera Mechanism is real, we have to admit that we lost 1,400 years of technological progress, that the ancient Greeks were capable of engineering feats that wouldn't be replicated for over a millennium. This isn't just a gap, it's a chasm in our understanding of technological evolution. If we admit that the Piri Reis Map is real, we have to admit that a global civilization with advanced cartographic knowledge existed during the last ice age, capable of mapping the world with precision that rivals modern techniques long before any known civilization possessed such capabilities. This challenges the very timeline of human exploration and settlement. The Baghdad Battery forces us to confront the possibility of ancient electrical knowledge, suggesting that our ancestors were not only aware of electricity, but had practical applications for it, perhaps for electroplating or even illumination, centuries before its official discovery. The Dashka Stone, with its millions of years old aerial map of the Urals, pushes the boundaries of intelligent life on Earth back into geological epochs we previously considered devoid of advanced beings. The Ica Stones, with their depictions of humans coexisting with dinosaurs and performing complex medical procedures, shatter our evolutionary timelines and suggest a forgotten interaction between species that defies conventional paleontology. The widespread reports of giant skeletons, systematically collected and then lost by institutions like the Smithsonian, hint at a deliberate suppression of evidence that could rewrite the history of human origins and the peopling of the Americas, perhaps even confirming ancient legends of the Nephilim. The Saqqara bird, a perfectly aerodynamic glider model from ancient Egypt, suggests a forgotten understanding of flight and aerodynamics, raising questions about the true extent of ancient Egyptian technological prowess. And finally, Göbekli Tepe, the monumental temple built by hunter-gatherers 12,000 years ago, completely upends our understanding of the origins of civilization, demonstrating that complex social structures and monumental architecture preceded agriculture, forcing us to reconsider the very foundations of human development. Our history, as presented, is a series of convenient rediscoveries. We are like a person who wakes up in a magnificent mansion with no memory, and assumes they built the house simply because they are the ones living in it. But these out-of-place artifacts are the undeniable clues, the breadcrumbs left behind by the original owners, whispering tales of a forgotten legacy. They are not just anomalies, they are invitations to a deeper truth, fragments of a grander narrative that has been deliberately obscured or simply lost to the relentless march of time and the fragility of human memory. The Earth is not just a planet, it is a vast, silent graveyard of giants and geniuses, of lost empires and forgotten technologies. And until we are brave enough to open the crates in the basements of our museums, until we dare to challenge the dogmas of academia, we will continue to walk in the shadows of a past we are too afraid to remember, forever bound by the amnesia of our species. The truth is out there, waiting to be unearthed, waiting to shatter our illusions. The question is, are we ready to face it? Are we ready to accept that our ancestors were not as primitive as we have been led to believe? Are we ready to acknowledge that advanced civilizations may have risen and fallen, leaving behind only these tantalizing clues? The journey to uncover these truths is not just an academic exercise. It is a journey into the very heart of what it means to be human, to understand our true potential, and to reclaim a legacy that has been denied to us for far too long. Until next time, keep searching for the truth, especially when they tell you it doesn't exist.